So my name is Nina Klausager. I'm a project employee at Nyt Europa, the partner organization of Democracy International. We are very lucky to have the dome here in Copenhagen. We have chosen to place it in the meatpacking district because this place has a lot of history to it. So it was actually built over 50 years and was finished in 1901. And it was the hub of the food distribution in Copenhagen. So it worked as an industrial center for meatpacking for a lot of years. Then over the years it has changed a lot. In 1980 it was put as a memorial building in Denmark, so it's one of the 25th industrial memorials of Denmark. So now it's a very cultural space, a very social space with a lot of art exhibitions, a lot of bars and restaurants, and also a place where we host conferences and festivals like the One-to-One Democracy Festival, where WorldPride is having one of their locations. So the dome is placed here because we think it's a place where we can talk a lot about representation and equality, because this area has a lot of contrast. We are going to talk a lot about marginalized groups and minorities, and workers' rights, especially sex workers' rights, is very relevant to have this discussion here.
And I think the concept of trust and somehow how does this also translate to how usable are the policies or funding or the Erasmus Plus program. I have met many young people going on these programs, which are fantastic. But does it stop there? You know, do we do this as a European Union, here take some money, have all these nice projects, but what more? You know, because I think we are asking for more.
And we see that with all democracies right now, with journalists, decision makers, media, people in position of power, that there's no trust to the citizens any longer. And we need the link between decision makers and the citizens.
For us at Democracy International is at the core of our work. So we work for more direct democracy, more citizen participation, especially at transnational level. So we were involved in the introduction of the European public sphere, the European Citizens Initiative. This is something that we've been advocating for a long time. We were also involved in the revision of this instrument, which of course is still far from being perfect. But it's at least one way where you can put items on the agenda of the European Union. And I think this is also something that we think about a lot, what you also mentioned, you know, direct democracy as a way to complement representative democracy.
Yes, we want the Union to be more listening, active and so on. But before that, we want the governments to be serious, to decide when they give power, that they give real power. When they don't give power, take the responsibility. And they don't do the first and they don't do the second.
The problem is the reputation of EU in other countries. And we are talking both Syria, Turkey or whatever. It's a secluded society. We in Europe are seen as rich, clever, wealthy. Nothing else. We are not seen as people who actually understand what's going on. And this is the problem. Because if I'm watching Kabul on TV, it's breaking news. And it's breaking news for 3-4 days and that's it. And this is where Europe is lacking. There is no voice to stand up to whoever it might be, whether it's the US or Russia, China, whoever. There is no voice. Because we are trying to find the middle ground, and that happens constantly, and that has no strength. So if European children, if my child, which is a European child, is going to grow up in this society, it needs to have a stronger voice because it deserves it. And we do need to be more likable. We need to be more human instead of being secluded.
LGBTI people don't have rights in Poland. There is no hate crime and hate speech legislation. We do have 3 penal codes for hate speech and basically hate crimes, but they don't have a premise of sexual orientation or gender identity and expression. The law proposals were proposed I don't know how many times. They were always rejected. We don't have equal partnerships. We don't have same-sex marriages. We don't have legal gender recognition. We have nothing, basically. The situation is very difficult because a few years ago, before the election, our government decided that the enemy of the state are the refugees during the crisis. And they were threatening people that the refugees will come and they will do horrible things. And we cannot, let them into Poland, which is absolutely unbearable for me because I live in a country with such a difficult history, and Polish people were running away from this country so many times because of so many reasons, the war, after war, and so on and so on. And we were expecting that other countries will accept us, they will help us. And now when we are able to support and help people, we are not doing this. So before the last election, the government, the ruling party, decided that the new enemy of the state are the LGBTI people. And amount of hatred spread is absolutely unbelievable because, of course, our main political party, Prawo i Sprawiedliwość, they are close friends with the Catholic Church. And when you go to the church, you will hear that LGBTI people are pedophiles, they're rainbow plug, they should be prosecuted, they should be killed, and so on and so on. And when, Minister of Education is saying LGBTI people are not people, they are subhumans, this is not okay. This is beyond everything that European Union stands for. Like, people are scared. What we see for, over a year now, we see parents of transgender children sending them abroad because they are scared for their lives.
There was a civil society movement called Live and Let Live, and it started out on Instagram. They built their own media platform to collect stories from real people. And their goal was to collect 1,000 stories because they knew that there were so many hate crimes here in Denmark not reported. And eventually they collected 1,000, and then they got attention by the media. They got attention by a few politicians, but finally the next goal was to collect 50,000 signatures online for the Citizens Initiative to demand the parliament to take a new proposal for legislation. And they just achieved it this year. And now they got the prize for the WorldPride thing, and that is so cool. But I think that is one way to go. Communicating about real stories, real lives. And I think other people, they realize their privilege of being the majority. And that is one way of working either with ethnic minorities, religious minorities, LGBT plus community, that in the end we're facing the same struggles. It's lack of fundamental human rights.
They see the same thing is happening in Slovenia. This is not only a local thing. They are really well connected, like how this is going. And this is also for us really important to share the good practices between us, how to respond to this. Because, if anyone see the questions that will probably be on referendum in Hungary, it's like completely suggestive, and a lot of people would of course vote yes, we are not to, teach LGBTI ideology, which means for them pedophilia in school. Yeah, of course, but this is suggestive. We have to fight this also in this rhetoric wise, how to address this, because it's also different to maybe campaign for human rights or for clean water. It's needed far more background, far more for people to understand what we are fighting for. Like you mentioned, stories are the ones that make then the difference. Like And it's harder maybe for people who do not have this kind of experience to connect and to realize why the fight here, why the standing up is, why the voting is important in some cases.
So I think so that the EU was way too slow on reacting on this. The mechanism when the human rights are violated in member countries, that should not be a question for discussion. That is just straight cut the money. Because follow the money, then you follow the power, right?
They can buy them votes because people are saying, okay, we know they're doing bad things, but they're giving us money, real money. Like I receive money for my children every month. I'm going to vote for them. But if they don't have money, they cannot give it us. So then people will start seeing like, what the hell is going on in here?
To take it maybe from the governments, some parts of it, and maybe to turn it toward the civil society, especially in places where freedom of media, where civil society needs a boost because the democracy is at stake.
There's going to be a backlash. We're aware of that. But we're in the position that people are taking their own lives. And this is time to act sharply because we don't have a time, for another 10,000 years conversation about something. This time is done. Like, there's no space for, pushing this way and another, unfortunately.
Shouldn't the EU have like a not global, but EU-wide way to report crimes, hate crimes and this kind of things? And we're not familiar with the new EU strategy on, I guess it's diversity or inclusion or some topics like this. But what I hear is that it's not sufficient. So maybe this could be one of the things that the Commission can do without the EU Council's approval.
And what we can do is react. And we have to react, like all of us, like making statements, our own personal statements that you disagree with what's happening in, in Poland, in Hungary, in Slovakia, in many places. Because like activism is like, it's not a huge thing as people commonly think. Activism is reporting hate speech on Facebook. Hateful comment. This is activism. You can show solidarity with the minority group on a special occasion or day, or just without any, special occasion. That's activism. And this is something we all can do, basically. And I really encourage you to do those kind of things. And then the world will be a little bit less harmful place for others.
I want to clap.